Hi, my name is Judy, and I'd like to welcome you to this third eye Ajna practice. I've also actually heard it pronounced Agna, which is very similar to Agni, which is fire, which is not what the third eye is about. So this is just a little intro. This is by no means a deep dive into your third eye. So today you're going to need a couple blocks. You can do this practice without them, but I highly, highly recommend that you have a couple of blocks today. I also suggest a bolster. Once again, you can get by without that as well. You might want a folded yoga blanket or a rolled up towel. Those can be nice. And come into sitting back onto your heels if that's comfortable to you. If this is not comfortable to you, you can take that rolled up blanket or towel and place it between your legs. That may make it feel more comfortable. You can take one of your blocks and you can take it between your legs and sit on that. And if none of that works, just come into an easy seated pose. That's just fine. And before we get too far in, because I keep forgetting this, I'd love for you to have a journal or a notebook so you can journal at the end of this practice. I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions, just food for thought, and you might want to journal on anything that bubbled up for you in this practice at the end. And I'd also like to give you a couple of intentions for this practice because I keep forgetting to do that as well. One is to find the beauty within. Another is to connect with your inner guru, your inner teacher, your inner wisdom. It's always there inside. You hear me say this at the end of every practice. And if none of that resonates with you, you can just have an intention to open up your hips, maybe strengthen your low back a little bit, and also stretch your hamstrings a little bit. So if it's comfortable for you, I invite you to close your eyes and then just begin to notice your breath. Let your shoulders be very heavy in a good way. Begin to straighten out that spine, lengthen up from your hips all the way to the crown of your head. Your third eye is the space between and just a little bit above your eyebrows, but it's inside your head. It's not this space right here, really. It's inside. It's our subtle body. The element is light. And the color is dark blue, indigo. It works closely with your crown chakra. That will be the next and last chakra. And the color for that is sometimes purple, sometimes gold, sometimes white. And just notice how you're feeling at the start of your practice, how you feel this morning, evening, afternoon, whenever you're practicing. And notice how when you bring your attention to your breath begins to naturally slow down. And as your breath slows down, your mind also calms down. And I invite you to bring your hands together in prayer and then just begin to rub your palms together back and forth, creating a little heat, a little tapas. And then bring those hands over your eyes, completely shutting out the room, feeling the warmth that you've created, relaxing your face, your eyes, your eyebrows. And then just begin to massage your face a little bit. Massage the forehead. Massage that place between the eyebrows, temples, your cheeks, And then just let that go. And let your hands come to rest in your lap. And very slowly begin to blink your eyes open. Bring your hands to the mat. Walk your legs out straight behind you. Bring your stomach down to the mat. Hands come out in front of you. I'm trying to keep an eye on the time in this practice, which is not so easy. And then just bend your elbows, bring one hand on top of the other, and bring your forehead down on top of your hands. And this is crocodile pose. Can you think of anywhere in your life that you're in denial? I'm sorry, I couldn't help going there. Crocodile, denial, get it? Somewhere where you're just denying the truth. Our third eye is all about vision. But it's not just about seeing what's in front of us, although that is sometimes what it's about. It's about that inner vision. What is it you truly want to bring about in this world? It's about connecting with your inner guru, your inner teacher. Because we have the answers inside of us. We just don't go in there and look for them. So sometimes by shutting down our eyes, shutting out the outside world, it's a little easier to go within. In Yin Yoga, we hold poses for a longer time to get into our connective tissue, our joints, our ligaments, our tendons, our fascia. And we try to stay in stillness, not moving around. But if you ever get into a pose, and it's okay to be uncomfortable, but if it's truly painful, or if you have a bad back and it's making that worse, go ahead and get out of it. You can always spend a little time in child's pose, which is actually a Yin Yoga pose as well. Never want to feel pain in this practice. You do want to feel sensation. In this particular practice, it's a nice, gentle practice for the most part. No really challenging poses. But everybody is different. So listen to your body. Go ahead and raise your forehead off of your hands. Take your palms pointing towards the short end of your mat, just a little bit in front of your body. Shoulder width apart. Wrists are in line with your shoulders. We're not sinking down, but we're holding ourselves up. And then go ahead and bend your left knee and bring it out to the side. That left foot is flexed. So the top of our body is in Sphinx pose, and the bottom is in half frog pose. And we are opening up that hip down there. and we are looking ahead, looking straight forward at one point. And I want you to think about, where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? And slightly press the mat away, just a little bit. So the third eye chakra, it is all about visualization. It's about our intuition. It's about getting very clear with what we want out of life. It's about connecting to that inner wisdom. And it's also about trying to see your patterns. What things show up in your life over and over and over again? And maybe you want to close your eyes. Bring your attention to that space between your eyebrows, asking yourself, where do you want to be in the future, in 5 years, in 10 years? And go ahead and take that left leg, stretch it out behind you, press into your hands and push your hips back to your heels. Give that low back just a little release. Maybe you want to wiggle around now. And then come back forward. Of course, we have to go to second side. And so bend your right leg out. Right foot is flexed behind you, opening up the hip on the right side. And once again, thinking about, where do I want to be in 5 years? Where do I want to be in 10? So a third eye chakra that's in excess might look like having nightmares. Maybe you can't concentrate well. Maybe you spend too much time dreaming and not enough time doing. I can relate to that one a little bit, and I'll bet a lot of people can. See if you can take that breath and send it towards the third eye. And just notice where you're feeling sensation in this pose. And maybe send some breath wherever you're feeling sensation. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is. And just notice. Straighten out that right leg. Press into your palms to press yourself up through tabletop, bringing those hips back to those knees. A little movement into that low back. As we're going to get into that in our next pose. Inhale, come back up to tabletop. Go ahead and grab a block. Put it a little bit in front of you. You may have to adjust as we move into our pose. Make sure your hips are over your knees and that your feet are straight out behind you. And we're going to walk our hands forward as we keep our hips in place, stretching out those hands and bringing our head down to the block. I have mine on its lowest height. You choose the height that feels right to you. And this is puppy pose. Are you in command of your mind? Really press into that index finger and that thumb, trying not to lock out your elbows. Feeling that breath spreading across the back. As you inhale and then coming back in as you exhale. Trying to take as deep breaths as you can, bringing in that prana, that life force, that energy. Are you commanding your mind right now? Or is your mind telling you things? It's saying, this is uncomfortable. I want to stop. I want to lay down before I come back up. I can't do this. This is too hard. Or are you telling your mind, I am choosing to do this because I want to develop my intuition. I want to work on my visualization. I am willing to do the hard work. Couple more breaths here. Last breath. Begin to walk your hands back towards your face. Press into your palms to push yourself up. Go ahead and sit back on your heels for just a minute and notice what you're feeling. Notice what your mind is telling you and what you can tell your mind. So a deficient third eye can look like a lack of imagination, denial. You can't see alternative solutions. You just get one and that's it. There's nothing else, no alternative. And you have trouble visualizing. take your blocks to the top of your mat, about shoulder width apart. You can have them on the lowest height. You can have them on a median height. I do not suggest putting it on the highest height. I'd say low or median. Come back into a tabletop position. Straighten your legs out behind you as you come down to your elbows. And you're going to have to play around with this just a little bit. Come forward and get your shoulders on the block. Hands are straight out behind you, palms up, and the head comes down to your mat. And now just let all that effort go. And here I want you to think about, can you connect to universal consciousness? What does that even mean? What does it mean to you? Really relax down into this. You're supported by your blocks. If you don't have blocks, you're just laying on your mat with your forehead on the mat, if possible. Your arms behind you, palms up. Just letting go of all the effort of the last few poses. Really relaxing. I find when I'm in this position, even though it's very relaxing, I have a tendency to tense my shoulders. It's where I put my tension. So wherever you're putting your tension, see if you can breathe into it and relax it. Know that you are supported by these blocks, by your mat, by your body, by the earth. Let go. Can you connect to universal consciousness? What does universal consciousness mean to you? Bringing your attention to that forehead that's pressing into the mat. Eyes closed if that's comfortable for you. Notice anything that bubbles up, any thoughts, any emotions, any feelings, any ideas. If your stomach begins to growl, it's a good sign. It means that you're relaxing. You're shifting out of your sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, into your parasympathetic nervous system. Rest and digest. And I want you to notice how your body, your physical body, how is it feeling right now? And does it feel relaxed? Or are you experiencing tension somewhere? And if you are experiencing tension, is there anything you can do to make that feel less tense, for want of a better word? And now I'd like you to go within and into your mind. Notice how your mind is. Do you feel calmer than when we started? Hopefully this is a very relaxing pose for you. I know it is for me. What thoughts are bubbling up? Are you getting any downloads from the universe? Last breath. And bring your hands outside the blocks. Push into your palms. Lift your forehead. Come up through tabletop and sit facing the long end of your mat. Take your left leg, stretch it straight out. Take that right sole and bring it to the left thigh. Now you may want your bolster here. It's really just a matter of preference. You can just take your hands palm up in front of you and then let your head be very heavy and take your attention to your third eye. You can take a block, put it on its highest height, put the bolster on top of that, maybe take another block on top, and go ahead and let your forehead rest on that. Or you may have to take that block and put it on the second highest height, because that may not feel comfortable to you. And take your block and put it on the second highest height on top, and rest your forehead on top. It's your choice. Find what feels good for you. If you need to bend your knee, that is perfectly fine. Find your edge, that spot where you're feeling sensation, most likely the back of your leg. We are opening up our hips here. We are stretching out our hamstrings. If you have very tight hamstrings, it may feel better to have a slight bend in that knee. It may even feel better to take a small rolled up blanket and put it underneath the knee. Whatever feels right to you. So you should feel a little bit of tension, but no pain. Do you see the beauty within? And one of the visualizations teachers often use for our third eye, and I'm going to go with that too, is looking out over a clear lake. And when we're too attached to our thoughts, when we're judging them, it's like a lake that has gotten choppy. And we can no longer see down to the bottom. But when we calm the mind
when we just see those thoughts scrolling across as if they were clouds moving across the sky, the lake becomes very still again. And we can see all the way down. Our vision is clear. Last breath here. Turn your palms down and begin to push into those palms and slowly raise your head. And let's go to our second side. If you're using those blocks and that bolster, be careful. And if you knock them over, no big deal. Just pick them back up. Right leg is straight out towards the side. Left leg is knees bent. Sole of the foot is against the right thigh. And then take your palms out in front of you. I need to adjust just a little bit here. Palms up. And if you're using those blocks and bolster, bring your forehead back down to the block. If you're not, let your head be really heavy. And just begin to let it come down towards the floor. Don't worry about how far it gets. It's not the point. The point is just to relax into the pose until you meet your edge. Do you feel the beauty within? Do you see the beauty within? What bubbles up for you when I ask you that? Do you immediately say to yourself, oh, no, 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 I'm not beautiful? No one thinks I'm beautiful? Or do you realize that it's not about your body? It's about your spirit. We all know people who are not physically beautiful. And they walk into a room and everybody is just drawn to them. Because they see the beauty inside themselves. They celebrate that. Let your shoulders relax. Maybe you spent a lot of years trying to mold your body. Maybe thinking it's not good enough. It's not beautiful by society's standards. Disliking certain body parts. It's time to let that go. Accept yourself, your physical body, your emotional body, and your spirit. Realize that this body works hard for you every single day. And that's beauty. You can turn your palms down to the floor, slowly lift your forehead, taking that block off if you used it.
Taking the bolster off of the block if you used it. You can bend your right leg so it's parallel to the short end of your mat, and bend your left leg so that your shin is parallel to the long end of your mat. If you have that bolster, I suggest that you take your blocks. If you don't have the blocks, it's okay. Just put your bolster on your mat. Put your blocks together, pointing towards the short end of the mat. Take that bolster on top, and you're in the same position, and you're just getting yourself as close to your bolster as you can. And then you're going to lay down. If it's comfortable for you, you can take your forehead to the bolster or the mat. Otherwise, you can turn your cheek towards your legs. And this is reclined deer pose. And you also have the option to stay upright, so your torso can be upright and your legs are in this position. But I'd like you to think about, what are your patterns? Maybe it's that body loathing. Maybe it's pushing people away when they get too close. Maybe it's not speaking up for yourself. Maybe it's not going after your dreams because you don't think you're good enough. You think, I need a little more knowledge. I'm not there yet. Just notice what comes up for you. And really let go. If you're using the props, let them support you. We are opening our hips up again. Really noticing that breath getting into the back of the lungs. Opening across your back body. Can you fill yourself up more? Can you take in more energy? Really letting those hips relax. Noticing where you're holding tension. Maybe that's in your legs. Let it go. Slowly begin to bring your hands back towards your legs. Pushing into your hands to lift yourself up. And we're going to go to second side. So take that left leg and bend it so that your shin is parallel. Actually, bend it so that your thigh is parallel to the top of the mat, if you're using a bolster or not. And your back leg Bend it so that the shin is parallel to the short end of the back of your mat. If you're using that bolster, get your hip as close to it as you can, and then drape yourself over it. Once again, noticing whatever patterns you hold on to. Let those hips soften. It's said that we store a lot of our emotions in our hips. And go ahead and walk your hands back towards your legs if you're laying on your bolster, or if you're reclining down on the mat. Push into your hands to slowly raise your whole body. Take your bolster, set it to the side. Grab one block, set the other one to the side. Take your legs out to the side. Come up into tabletop position. Bring your big toes together and your knees as wide apart as the mat, if that's comfortable for you. If you'd like to have your legs together, you're perfectly welcome to do that as well. Grab that block and bring your head down to the block. Arms stretching out in front of you. Child's pose, bringing your attention to that third eye. Are you willing to take in new information? Are you willing to listen to someone who doesn't agree with you? Or do you cling tightly to your own opinion, thinking, knowing that you are always right? My husband might tell you that I do that. And I'm guilty of it sometimes. We all are, aren't we? But I am willing to change. That is definitely one of my strengths. I'm willing to let go of old beliefs and embrace new ones sometimes. And I think that's really important in life.
I've always been a little bit of a dreamer. And sometimes I take action, and sometimes I let that fear hold me back. And just begin to take your head from side to side, just massaging that forehead a little bit. And walk your hands back towards your body wherever you are. Press into your palms to bring yourself up. Maybe bring your legs together and slowly roll yourself up. Albert Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. I invite you to sit on top of your block if you have one now, coming into an easy seated position for yourself. You can also sit, if you have a bolster, you can sit on top of your bolster. Take a few deep breaths here. Let your shoulders be very heavy. Feel your spine lengthening from your root chakra. And if you don't know what that is, you can look at the playlist. All the way up to your crown chakra. That is our next and final chakra to learn a little bit more about. And one of the ways we open, so to speak, our chakras is by having a nice long spine. And I invite you to close your eyes here if that's comfortable for you. And go ahead and inhale, take your arms out to the side and up. Place your hands on the crown of your head, our crown chakra. I'm going to take 3 deep breaths here. And if you take more breaths than 3, that's fine too. And go ahead and take your hands and cover your eyes, bringing your fingers to that space between your eyebrows and just a little bit above the third eye, which we've explored today. The seat of our intuition, our inner knowing, our connection to universal wisdom, and our inner guru, our inner teacher. Inhale through the front, and exhale through the back of your head. And last breath here.
Take your hands and lightly clasp your throat. And once again, inhale deeply through the front of your neck and exhale through the back of your neck. Now move your hands to the center of your chest, to your heart chakra. It's the bridge between the lower, more physical chakras and the upper, more spiritual, intellectual chakras. And as you breathe in, breathing in through the front of your heart, as you exhale, exhale out through the back. Slowly take your hands to your solar plexus, to your upper abs, and just below your sternum. Breathing in through those upper abs, the front, and out through the back. Last breath in this location. Go ahead and move your hands down to your lower abs, your sacral chakra. Again, breathing in through the front, exhaling through your back. Last breath here. And take your hands to your thighs, palms down. Our root chakra, our right to be here. And begin to breathe in through the front, out through the back. Getting very solid, very grounded here. And let that go. Just notice how you feel in this moment, right here, right now. Maybe you feel a little more space in your spine. Maybe you feel a little lighter in your body, as if something has opened or a weight has been lifted off. Maybe you feel tingling in your body. Maybe you notice that energy is beginning to move throughout your whole body. There is nothing right or wrong you can notice. Just notice what you notice. Bring your attention back to that intention that you set in the beginning. Maybe it was just loosening up those hips and hamstrings and low back. Maybe it was connecting with that inner guru. And notice if you did, maybe it was connecting to universal consciousness. That feeling that everything on this planet, every human, every plant, any animal, we are all connected. Slowly bring your palms together at heart center, rubbing your hands back and forth, bringing a little more heat back into this relaxed and calm body, stilling your hands at heart center, slightly bowing your head, thanking yourself for coming to this practice today, and giving yourself this time to fill your cup so you can pour to everybody else in your life. And slowly begin to blink your eyes open and raise your head and hopefully smile. And let your hands come back to your thighs. And before you run off into the rest of your day, or maybe go to sleep whenever you happen to be practicing, I invite you to spend more time in Savasana, which I will link up here. We really didn't do that. We rested a little in child's pose at the end of this practice. And maybe journal. I'm going to run through those questions one last time. Is there anywhere in your life that you're in denial, where you're not facing the truth? Where do you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years? See it. Feel it in your body. Know it's going to happen. Do you feel connected to universal consciousness? What does universal consciousness mean to you? And what helps you to connect to it? Hopefully this practice did, I hope. Do you feel the beauty inside of you? And I'm not just talking about physical beauty. Do you notice, are you aware of the patterns in your life? No judgment on those patterns. They're not good, they're not bad, they're just information. And are you open to new information? Again, thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope that you enjoyed this practice, this intro to your third eye chakra. I hope that you feel a little looser, a little more open, and maybe ready to dive deep into some of those questions. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. And if you'd like to know when new videos are added to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you'd like to connect with other people who are interested in yoga and maybe some of the more spiritual aspects of yoga, go ahead and join our private Facebook group. It's linked up below. And most of all, thank yourself for practicing today. Namaste.